one of the things that parents talk to us about the most is this feeling that the second you give birth, you're in a competition. In the old days, you used to look at your sister's kids, your cousin's kids, and your next door neighbour's kids. That was pretty much it, and hope that yours would sort of on a par and doing the right thing at the right time. But now with social media, there's this vast area of potential comparison, and parents say that that feeling that they're sort of somehow their children are not doing what other people's children are doing, and that they're failing, and that they're not kind of covering them in glory in the way that they ought to be, it's just overwhelming.
Absolutely. I think the big thing is, exactly as you said, the world people could compare to before social media was very, very small. You could only look at your siblings and your close cousins or your close friends, and now you can see families literally all over the world. Right now in Egypt, in real time and in last week's time, going on expensive holidays, putting their children in expensive classes, teaching their children to read, doing Montessori things, outdoor school, homeschooling. There are so many different ways to look after children that you probably wouldn't even have known about if you weren't on the internet. And I feel like the thing that we're talking about today is this feeling of anxiety that parents can feel when they think they're just not giving their children enough. With the fact that there are so many things you can offer your children, the feeling of enough, the feeling that you might be missing something, that your child won't achieve the things you hope they will achieve, or they just don't have the same things as their friends, is putting a huge amount of pressure on parents and increasing their anxiety exponentially.
So I would divide this kind of competitive anxiety into two categories. One is you're worried that your child won't win the competition.
Yes.
You're worried that your child can't skip, can't swim, isn't potty trained, can't read, can't converse, or doesn't do whatever the other kids do. So you're worried that your child is going to fall short and somehow lose life's competition.
Yes.
And this is from birth. If the other kid's better at sleeping, it's better at breastfeeding, it's better at, whatever the damn hell, looking at the mobile, and your kid's just still sitting there in the corner like that, not doing anything. You're like, oh my God. And I had two, you're one of them, wriggly, fidgety, little small babies that were never really that content. I felt like I had to, seriously, I felt I had to provide this kind of hot and cold running commentary of entertainment day and night. Also, this carrot, I was like, you see this potato? Look, and you were just a baby. I look at this potato, now I'm peeling it. Look, here comes the peel. Look at that in a lump. I was kind of like that the whole time, because if I wasn't doing that, you looked absolutely, with the greatest respect, effed off. You look really bored, fed up. And I kept thinking, you're looking at me to just keep the whole entertainment cycle coming. And then I look at other people's babies just placidly asleep, like, having had an enormous amount of milk just lying there for hours silently, undemandingly, and you two were just wriggly, squiggly, little tiny things demanding constant input. Yes. So, you can start to feel like a failure as a parent. Literally, from the moment the placenta comes out, you're like, God, have I done something wrong? What should I do?
I remember feeling like I was really achieving my parenting goals if my children were asleep when they were babies. And the rest of the time I'd be thinking, am I doing it right? Have I read the book? Is this the right thing? Am I following the right business? Have I winded them properly? But when they were asleep, I was like, I am really sussing this out. But you can see you can apply that to literally every part of parenting.
So what I think is that this divides, if I'm right, into two different categories.
Yes.
So that both of them contribute enormously to parental anxiety. One is that you're concerned that your child won't keep up, that your child is somehow not maximizing its potential, the child hasn't read the book about what it's meant to do, so it never does anything it's supposed to do, or it's not doing it quickly enough. So you're concerned your child is falling short, which is a great cause for anxiety. But the other one is you're concerned that you are falling short, or you as a family are falling short, or your finances are falling short, or you're dressing the child wrongly, or you're not taking it on a holiday that other people are doing. And it's not all about money either, but it's about the amount of attention you're giving, the right books that you're reading, or whatever the hell it is. So I think the anxiety in terms of competitive parenting is so rigidly complicated because you're worried your child won't perform and you're worried that you won't perform.
Yeah, I think it comes from firstly having a huge amount of love for your child.
Yes.
And wanting your child to have the very best. And obviously, in your own mind, the very best is different to what other people might think of. I know, for example, in our family, it was, very good education, lots of books, lots of activity, lots of intrigue. As you've said, this kind of consistent stream of interesting things in the direction of the children to expand their brains.
For example, when you were just newly born, I have read somewhere This is 37 years ago. I've read somewhere that children really, really respond to faces, and when I say children, I mean brand new babies. I mean children, I mean newborns, when they're in that newborn stage. Yeah, they really respond to faces. And I cut out of a magazine, probably Woman's Realm or something, a whole lot of faces and put them all around the inside of your crib when you were newly born, so that whenever you
think how viral that would have gone right now if you making a parenting video now showing you cutting out all the little faces and sticking them around the cot. Think how viral that would have gone, and equally think how much comparative parenting would have gone from all the parents who hadn't thought of that idea. I mean, the idea is we can see.
But hang on, has it made you into the one?
Yes, that's that good thing. I am. I know all about faces because of that exact.
Was it the right thing to have done?
Yes, I mean, I think the whole thing is we can see that really all input for children is good. Talking, reading, speaking, cuddling, playing, listening to music, reading books, showing them objects. Exactly what you said. Often say to our parents, for little children, pretend you're a cooking presenter on a TV program while you're making the dinner. It gives you something to talk about. Lots of parents feel very self-conscious giving this constant stream of speech to their children, and that's the thing their children need most, is interactions, connectivity. This feeling of constant information really helps children to grow into people. Their brains are expanding every single day, and their ability to understand concepts increase from a very, very early age. Children are able to identify patterns, which we don't really understand, but they can. So even things like, that we generally wake up when it's light and we go to bed when it's dark. This very young babies can see those patterns. So we know that the more input we give children, the more engagement they can give. Even children with special needs, even children with different processing, even with children with disability, will increase their ability to engage with the world with the more engagement they receive. So do I think everyone should cut out faces and put them in their cot? Go for it. It's a really great idea. But I still, the thing what we're saying is everybody will have things they're comparing to. And you may not be a parent who's really that interested in reading books. I would like you to be, because I think reading books to children is one of the best things that you can do. But it might not be that. You might be really interested in how your children look and how they dress, whether your children have or haven't got the right play equipment, whether your children are or are not having the right kind of experiences. Everyone else's children are going to the Paradox Museum, they're going to Model Days, they're going to Alton Towers. Why are my children? Maybe I haven't got the money, maybe I haven't got the time, maybe I haven't got the impetus, maybe I know I don't like scary rides, in which case I'm not going to take my children to Alton Towers. But do I then have to feel guilty that they're not going? How anxious do I need to be about my inputs, the things I am inputting to my children?
Okay, well, let's bring some answers to this, because let's start with everyone else's child, or all the children on social media, or everyone in your nursery or playgroup or school or whatever. Everyone else's child is doing a certain thing. They can all skip, or they're all potty trained, or or it feels as if they are anyway, or their parents are presenting them as if they are.
Yeah.
And your child isn't doing that yet.
Yes. So obviously there are loads and loads of reasons why children won't be meeting milestones. The reason we have milestones is firstly to check children are developing in the most common way. Is it the most normal way for all children? No, some children will learn to speak well before they learn to walk, and some the opposite way around. There isn't a linear progression for children, but we assume that by the time children are adults, most will be talking and walking, for example. That's not true of everyone, as we know, and there'll be very good reasons why certain children aren't doing those things. So it isn't about a rush or a race. The idea is to be able to use milestones that we know about in our, our MHS handbooks, for the purpose of checking, are my children doing the things children are generally doing at this age? And if not, is it because they can't do it? There's a developmental reason, they have a disability, we've missed something we didn't know about, in which case, what help is available? Do they need to know how to do that thing? It's mostly to be able to begin asking questions. It isn't about judgment or telling people they've done the wrong thing or they're not doing enough. The whole point is we have these milestones so you can check. Is my child doing something that most children of this age are doing? And if not, do I need to get it checked or looked at by someone who knows more about this than me? It isn't saying you're not doing it right or why haven't you done this. It's the exact opposite.
And I'd just like to intervene to say at this point that when you were a baby or a little girl, we did have sometimes visits from health visitors and things. It wasn't that frequent. People sort of remember it as the halcyon days at the health service, but actually it wasn't very frequent. But I did finally get a visit from a health visitor to check whether you were sort of fulfilling your milestones, or whatever the word is for whatever you do with milestones. And you were highly conversational.
And you would have an in-depth
Socratic debate with the health visitor, and you absolutely ran verbal rings around her in your discussion about logical positivism or whatever it was you were talking about. You were magnificent. So you could do that. You could do whatever else you were supposed to do. I can't remember any of the things that you were supposed to do, except the one thing, which was take some wooden blocks and pile them, build
Stack them up.
stack them up.
I think the milestone is probably to stack 3 blocks on top of each other. Or
Right.
something like that.
Okay. So you can see that, as I don't even have the vocabulary to describe this, how unbelievably boring to me the concept of taking a child, taking some blocks and going like that. Well, I just had never done it. Too boring, and I just never thought of doing it. I never imagined you go into construction. I don't even think we had any blocks. I think that the health visitor had to produce these blocks from their own.
See if I could stack.
Gave you the blocks. You were busy chatting. You looked at these blocks like and I looked at them like, God, what? And then she wrote on the form, cannot stack the blocks, because it was my fault. I'd never shown you how to do it. I never dreamed of doing it. You couldn't do it. You didn't do it.
But it isn't because...
So I just want to point out that it's to do with the family, isn't it? What a family likes to do.
It's to do with a lot of things. So obviously, children whose parents have a particular interest in something are more likely to be good at it. If you've got a parent who's really good at football, they're more likely to play football in the garden. For example,
I had dinner with my lead class last night. I love
she's the kind of parent that makes everyone wonder if they're not doing enough, because she is so amazing.
Well, she's a wonderful parent. But she's
also
a classical musician.
That's correct.
And now all her children are really efficient classical musicians, because she loves that. Well, I was never building blocks, and I didn't show you how to build blocks.
I usually don't know how to play piano either, because you don't know.
We played the piano because I don't play.
You haven't told me how to use language, to make relationships, to read interesting books, to watch a film and discuss it with someone, to make a connection with people over time. There are so many phenomenal things that you taught me, and they're not the same as other families, and that's also okay.
So that's what I want to get across here.
That's right.
Whatever is going on in your family.
That's right.
That's why these comparisons are odious.
That's right.
Because you're comparing yourself with families that value and do other things and live in a different way. And of course, you're not going to do exactly the same.
No. So I think the idea is we have milestones, which are specific sort of data sets that show what children in general, on average at certain ages, are likely to do. If your child is not doing it, it is an indication you're not doing well enough. It's an indication maybe you haven't focused on that thing. I give yourself a chance to focus on that thing. I'd say I haven't done potty training yet. Lots of their friends are potty trained. What might I need to do? Do I need a book? Do I need to speak to a GP? Do I need to speak to a friend who's already potty trained their child? What could I do to give it a go? And if it hasn't worked, speak to my doctor or speak to somebody else to try and see if I need additional help. Yeah. The reason children aren't doing it is usually just that parents haven't really focused on that yet, or they haven't got the right information for that particular child. Different children will need different methods to learn things for lots of reasons, and not because of parental effort, just because children are different.